Has been a hotbed of insurgent activity since the beginning of the war. Thousands of 1st Infantry Division soldiers are working around the clock there to secure and rebuild Iraq.
Tonight, the AFN Evening News takes you deep inside the Sunni Triangle to Saddam Hussein's hometown of Tikrit, where AFN correspondent Michelle Michael leads our team coverage.
Hello to you, I'm Michelle Michael. This week, the AFN Evening News goes on the road with reports inside the Sunni Triangle. For an American soldier, there is perhaps no more dangerous neighborhood. It's a roughly triangular area northwest of Baghdad. The triangle's 3 corners lie in and around the capital city. Baghdad is on the far east. Fallujah is on the west corner. And I'm standing at the northernmost point of the triangle here in Tikrit at Forward Operating Base Danger. It's a fitting name for the military camp. This is a volatile region and home of the former Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein. A hotbed of resistance from the start, there's still a large amount of Sunni opposition to the coalition presence here.
3 up, and go ahead and move out.
It's a desolate drive on the outskirts of former dictator Saddam Hussein's hometown.
Proceed with extreme caution. Make sure you scan the rooftops and alleyways.
Rarely calm or quiet for Task Force 118 infantry soldiers on the lookout for potentially deadly improvised explosive devices. They're planted by insurgents opposed to democracy in Iraq.
All green armors come to security hall.
Corner of my eye, I saw the yellow tip in red. I thought it was a round.
Scares like this one are an everyday reality of war for Lieutenant Corey Mendez.
Every time we ride these roads, we're sweeping the roads for IED, so it's constantly being done.
Military officials here in Tikrit say there's about 100 attacks here every week. Improvised explosive devices are planted on roads just like this one, and they account for 80% of U.S. casualties. That something could be an explosive disguised as roadside waste or a setup for an attack down the road. Mendez says insurgents have hit his platoon twice.
First time the vehicle's windshield was shattered and the headlight was shattered.
All the soldiers survived.
Get right behind him. This is good. Why were you waiting on the road? Hey, check him out.
As the first ID soldiers search the Iraqis they call suspicious looking, the enemy plots against the U.S.'s purpose here. There's a chance opposing forces will hide explosives in something that may not look so suspicious.
They had a dead sheep and they were managed to stuff it with a 155 mortar round. For the most part, they watch our patrols and they determine when we're not patrolling, and they come up with their own plans as to when to drop the IEDs.
It's a familiar plot to Mendez, a New York detective. The terrorist attacks of 9/11 are still fresh on his mind. So is the threat as he rides with his weapon drawn, ready to defend the freedom he himself enjoys.
It'd be nice if we can win out the hearts and minds of the entire country. That's probably not going to happen. So I guess we're set up for the majority.
While IEDs are the most complex threat in all of Iraq, soldiers like Mendez continue their efforts to make the region less radical and stamp out the remainder of the Saddam regime. Because of patrols like Task Force 118, the U.S. military has destroyed 24 million pounds of explosives. It's the same stuff used to make IEDs. Military officials say IEDs are a major threat to Iraq's democracy. That's why the U.S. military is training an Iraqi military that can protect itself against increasing insurgent attacks. Sergeant Nick Tovo has more.
They are aiming to help keep one of the world's most volatile countries safe.
These are the soldiers that's going to be going out and actually handling business here in Iraq.
To get a firm grip on that handle, these Iraqi National Guardsmen need to learn to shoot straight.
Just like you gotta go put on his shoulder.
They're doing it at boot camp, at Forward Operating Base Danger in Tikrit. It's a crash course on the rifle range.
For me, 3 weeks is not good enough for them. I understand their situation about the country right now. They need bad about need soldiers to support their Iraqi government.
Sergeant Roberto Lemos is a U.S. Army drill sergeant.
It's gonna be like this.
Helping turn Iraqi civilians into Iraqi soldiers.
I grew up in third world countries, and for me, I understand who they are. So I got a lot of patience. All the weapons.
Both the instructors and the trainees have their own challenges. For the trainees, it's a new weapon. For the instructors, it's a new language.
It's hard to tell them. So you need to apply sign language. You need to draw every single step.
Steps these Iraqi guardsmen say they have no problem taking after years of walking in the oppressive shadow of Saddam Hussein.
I want to help make Iraq a great country and keep it free like the United States.
Sergeant Salah's experience with weapons is like that of most other Iraqi men. The U.S. military estimates every household has at least one AK-47 and in many cases two, but not always the skills to use the rifle effectively.
Put this one right here. Go like this. Put in your cushion. Come on. Put in your eyes. No!
Sergeant Lemos and his fellow cadre keep the recruits on target, preparing them to guard the streets of Iraq and protect against the increasing insurgency threatening their new democracy. Sergeant Nick Tovo, AFN News, Tikrit.
Iraq's new democracy relies in part on training the new Iraqi recruits. Specialist Amy English takes us back to the range and introduces us to a drill sergeant doing just that.
I just like being a soldier. All my life I wanted to be a soldier, and I have 3 years of drill sergeant experience. I'm back on the trail again. I'm a drill sergeant again, except this time I'm not training the Americans. I'm training the Iraqi National Guards. These are the ones going to go out and actually make Iraq safer. They conduct the checkpoints, operations, and they're the ones going to be fighting insurgents. That's why it's so important. You get the weapon in the shoulder. Your nose has to be right here, all right, touching, not back here. What I bring to the soldiers is knowledge to help them shoot, move, and basically communicate, to be better soldiers. Not hitting nothing. Get the privates, and they start to shoot. They don't know, they don't understand at first. This is his first time shooting?
Oh yeah, this is first time shooting for him. I told him to shoot this.
All right, tell him to aim right here. But once they start hitting the targets and the targets are falling down. Same thing, don't change nothing, same thing. All right?
It's 1, 2, 3, very good.
Builds confidence and basically makes the drill sergeant feel very good too, to know that his soldiers have actually learned the basics of rifle marksmanship. Do not jerk the trigger, all right? You know that I have a part in helping to rebuild Iraq. You know, this is the foundation right here. To be honest with you, this is the foundation for Iraq. These soldiers right here. I know that they're making a difference out there, so I feel great.
From Tikrit to Bakuba, one of the most mortared military camps in all of Iraq is forward operating base Warhorse. It's actually nicknamed Mortar Horse. The number of attacks against U.S. troops there peaked at an all-time high in June. This month, that number is down by about 30%. Colonel Dana Petard says the camp hasn't lost a soldier to mortar rounds in 70 days.
The insurgency went to fruition and grew to a full-blown insurgency really in April. At first, things got worse as far as the insurgency. But the insurgency, at least here, the major piece of the insurgency was defeated here in April.
Colonel Petard says the U.S. military expects to reduce attacks further by about 20 to 30% by September. Now that attacks are down in Bakuba, the Iraqi police are working to keep the streets safe and the government stable. Sergeant Damian Steptor has details.
After 6 weeks of boot camp and months of on-the-job training, the Iraqi National Guard is securing Iraq and protecting the war-torn country from insurgency attacks. U.S. military officials say violence is down since the beginning of this year near forward operating base Warhorse. Iraqi officials in charge of that area say it's due to support from U.S. forces in the 1st Infantry Division.
They give us supplies and training. They make sure we can do the job.
It's a job Iraqi guardsmen say they're happy to accomplish. Right now, I'm standing in front of a hole from a recent mortar attack. It's filled in now, but it's the first one this base has seen in almost 2 months. U.S. Army officials say the decrease in attacks is just the beginning of a new Iraq.
We've come a long way since the 6 months we've been here. Now, I mean, the ING is leading most of the patrols and stuff, so I think they respect that we let them run a lot of the patrols. So we've definitely developed a pretty good relationship.
Lieutenant Caldwell and the 1st Infantry Division soldiers say they hope to continue the U.S.-Iraqi relationship well into its democratic future. Sergeant Damian Steptor, AFN News, Bakuba.
While the new Iraqi police patrol the streets to make them safer, U.S. troops brave the potential dangers for medical support. Sergeant Kimberly Lewis has more from Tikrit University.
Soldiers of the 415th Civil Affairs Battalion are on a mission. There's equipment that they need to teach their students today. The delivery is the first of 3 phases, dropping off equipment before the start of pharmacy school at Tikrit University. Phase 2 started from the ground up in March. And they were basically just shells without without second floors, without roofs and whatnot. And today that you see, the laboratory building that we were in will be ready for the 1st of October. The 3 buildings that make up the pharmacology division are expected to open in time for the students to start hands-on training to begin medicine making, something missing from Iraq for a long time. They don't have the basic medications to treat their patients with in the hospitals and the clinics. Part of that is due to the lack of the pharmacists to make the drugs. With support from First ID, the people in Iraq can look forward to pills in a bottle instead of pills in a bag or nothing at all. Not only does the local population benefit from the production of medication, according to Staff Sergeant Robert Lloyd, but he also says the soldiers get something out of it as well.
It was good. Anything we could do to help out the Iraqi people, that's our goal and our mission.
Lloyd says the 415th Civil Affairs Battalion will continue to work with the United Kingdom's Comita Scientific to support and train the budding pharmacologists well into the future. Sergeant Kimberly Lewis, AFN News, Tikrit.
Tomorrow night on the AFN Evening News.
Do you want some pain medicine?
The future of medical care in Iraq and coping with the stress of war and extreme heat. Until then, from inside the Sunni Triangle, I'm Michelle Michael. As we say goodbye, some troops want to say hello.
Kevin Holland
here in Tikrit, Iraq.
I'd like to say hello to my girlfriend, Kate.
And I'd like to say hello to my wife, Tara. It's hot out here.
I just want to say hello to my wife, Ramona, and my son, Justin.
And I'd like to say hello to my wife, Sabina.
I want to say a special hello to my beautiful wife, Sunja, and my boys, Justin and Jeremy, who are in college.